Hi, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk with Kyley Paul. I'm your host, Keri Parker, and today our special guest is Leslie Gordon Christie. Leslie Gordon Christie is a mindset and weight release coach and creator of the program BUFFnation, 40 plus and fabulous. She helps driven women reclaim their energy, waistline, and zest for life with her proven formula for total wellness. She has over 2 decades of experience in the health and wellness industry, including the role of health and lifestyle specialist for CTV, Canada's largest private broadcaster, and associate editor of Oxygen magazine. As a mindset and release coach, what sets Leslie apart is her ability to help her clients create a vision, break through negative beliefs, and replace them with positive thoughts and habits that will lead them to a healthy lifestyle they can sustain for a long haul. Leslie is also a culinary nutritional specialist and certified personal trainer. She lives in Cambridge, Ontario with her husband Kyle, sons Carter and Alistair, and dog Asa Doodle. Love it. Welcome, Leslie Gordon Christie. Thanks for joining us on Let's Talk.
Thanks for having me. This is fun. Yeah, we can't forget Asa Doodle. She's a big part of the family if anyone's a pet lover.
Aw,
Awesome.
love it.
That is awesome. And we also have with us today Kyley Paul. And Kyley is a vision planner. Her mission is to empower everyone around her by activating their awareness and giving effective tools to create and enjoy their ideal lives. Kyley is a single mother of 2 boys and acting CEO of 3 companies. As her schedule and lifestyle became more demanding, in response, she developed efficient strategies to maximize her time, organization, and execution in life and business, which she now shares with you. So thank you, Kyley Paul. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited. Let's talk
Hi.
with Leslie. All right.
And today we're going to let's talk about mental and physical health and what that means to you. Leslie, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, research tells us there is a strong connection between, regular exercise, or how I like to say movement, and how we feel, particularly though about ourselves. I think as a society, we learn about the physical benefits of exercise. You might think about it as weight loss or toning up or leaning out, but actually it does so much for our mental health. Predominantly, how we feel about ourselves, the confidence we have, how we walk. We like to say at BUFFnation that movement changes your vibration. When you are in a bad mood and you even just go for a walk, you can feel your spirits lift and you can feel that change of vibration, that energy shift. And that is awesome. So obviously, the more that we move, whatever that means to you, the more positive we're going to feel, the more uplifted we're going to feel, the more energetic we're going to feel.
Definitely. Yeah. Kyley, what is your take on that?
I love that description, Leslie. And I feel like now there's sort of a movement too of intertwining the mental and physical aspect even deeper. And you talked about how the physical can impact your mental state. And now there's a kind of a shift and not, I wouldn't necessarily say a reverse, but an awareness where your mental state can also influence your physical activity. So when you work on yourself and your mental state and your thoughts and having more productive thoughts about yourself, intuitively you want to have those inspired actions of going out for a walk because you feel good. So it's kind of a cyclical effect where if our mental state is good, we want to move more and have more movement and physical activity in our lives. And that can mean anything. And then also when you actually do start moving, even if you're kind of in a funky mental state, that improves your mental state. So it's a little cyclical effect you have going on.
Yeah, it's really
do you guys feel, is that the mind-body connection, or do you think there's more to it than that?
So, I mean, there's so much research supporting mind body connection and just your body and your wholeness as a whole, right? So I like to look at kind of the different parts that some people associate, like mind, body, spirit. I think of all of it as one, and try to, as much as I can, work on myself as a complete unit, which is difficult to grasp because we're taught very structured, kind of siloed things in school and in our society, and we speak about, this is how you take care of your body, this is how you take care of your mind, as if they're separate, but it's all one. You're one unit. So my whole take on it is I'm one unit, all connected, and I work on everything. It's different actions, it's different activities for different times of day or different things. I'm utilizing different parts of me at different times, but I try to take care of myself as a unit as much as possible.
Yeah, it's the holistic approach to things, right? Because I think that, yes, physical is important, but the mindset, the body, the spirit, it's all one. And we know that there is science, you asked the question about, like, is it mental? Is the connect? There is the science behind, okay, when I exercise, my brain is releasing feel-good chemicals and I feel good. So that in turn is going to help boost my mood, make me feel better. And it's also going to help me alleviate some of those other chemicals that might bring me down, right? But it's all supported, like Kyley said, in all parts of our life, because that's a spiritual connection, that's a physical connection, it's an intellectual connection. It's kind of happening on all planes. So I love you're talking my language here. I love your holistic approach to things. Yeah.
It's really interesting too. So they've done studies on, and I want to see if I have the book right here, but it's Dr. Joe Dispenza, sorry that I'm looking behind me here. It's somewhere in here. Maybe you guys can see it, about telling people, like, giving them the mental picture of rate release, for example, and just giving them the confidence knowing. So they did a particular study that I remember where they talked to housekeepers in a hotel. So half of the housekeepers, they asked them if they felt that their physical activity was mild to moderate to high during the day. And so all of them rated it the same. They thought they were only doing mild activity. So half of the housekeepers, they told that actually what you are doing is considered to be high activity levels for an average human. And then the other half, they didn't tell anything. So the half that they told that, they didn't change anything in their diet, they lived the same, they all lost an average of 3 to 5 pounds over a couple months, just from that knowledge and changing, like, they changed their thought process and having the awareness, hey, I am doing physical activity. So their body reacted, but they hadn't actually changed any physical actions.
But what they did change is their paradigm and how they looked at themselves, right? And we know that the paradigm is like the control center of your results. So just like a thermostat in your home, it's always set to a certain temperature. So you can change that by changing the actual dial, but putting in the new thoughts. So I love that study. And I remember hearing that too. So powerful. There's another one actually, and it was on Olympians. And there was 3 groups, one physical, the other one was a combination of physical and mental, and the other one was purely mental. And they found, like, that mental, the ability to visualize and really step into the role was so effective at their results. And that's because our subconscious mind doesn't know what's real or imagined, right? We got to use that to our benefit. Often we use it not to our benefit. But yeah,
you're training your mind as if you're training your body, and you're training your muscles. And that's the point of all of my kind of videos and workshops, is activating your particular activation system in your mind, and getting that familiarity and repetition, and visualizing and experiencing what you want to experience, and having that practice and getting your body and your mind familiar with it.
So when we have people start an exercise program, we tell them, Let's start to see your picture of healthy fit you, so you have something to move towards. Because if you're starting an exercise program and you're trying to change the results instead of the thoughts, feelings, actions, results, you're trying to change the results, the end of that, it's never going to stick. You got to go to the beginning of the equation. And so I do find, as women, we're struggling with that. So we're really trying to help them identify those limiting beliefs. And then, of course, drop the story and build a new story about their health and wellness. And then it's amazing when people do that and they journal every day and they do the inside work, what happens at the end. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So ladies, is that some of the skills you would say that we need to bridge that gap? Like the mindset to bridge the gap between our mental and physical health. Sorry, I'm losing my voice today. I'm too many hosting duties. So to bridge that gap, is that like, is it a mindset thing, or is there a gap to bridge? Because like you said, instead of thinking as our mental, physical, spiritual health as different things, we should just think of it as one. So
we call it the knowing doing gap. So you know what to do, but you're not doing it. What's going on? And I think if we could all figure that out, we'd all get stuff done. So within the knowing doing gap, like here's where you know, and here's where you do, and here's your goal. All of this in the middle are your beliefs, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions that give you these results. So it's kind of uncovering, doing some digging, doing some internal work as to what's standing in the way here. And I'm sure with your work too, you could say it's the same thing, right?
Yeah, it's
Right.
the exact same thing. And I give the example in a couple of my workshops where if I have a fitness goal, let's say, but I write down, I want to run a marathon versus I want to, I don't know, just work out and feel good. I hate running, and that's not part of my, like, that's not important to me. That's not one of my driving forces is I don't get energy from running. I'd rather just lay on the floor after I've done many races and stuff with my mom. She knows, but you have to identify what's important to you and why that's important. So I do a linking activity with my clients and my employees too, and they identify their goals. And I'm like, okay, write down 20 reasons why you want to accomplish that. Link it to what's important to you. What does this goal allow you to do now? So for a fitness goal, if you have, you want to, whatever, get to your ideal weight or feel good and more energized, why do you want to do that? Do you want to have more energy to play with your kids outside? Do you want to go for walks out with your partners? What is this achieving this goal allow you to do? How do you flip your mind and live on the other side of it?
Yeah. Like the investment, right? Like, what am I going to get out of it if I put all this time into it?
Yeah. The more reasons you have to back it up and to gain that importance, the shorter your knowing doing gap and bridge is going to be.
Yeah, the emotional connection, right? When you're in it and you add that emotion and you see the benefit and you know this is going to benefit my life and everyone around me. Okay, there's a deeper reason for doing it. So I think we all agree it's not just about starting an exercise plan and thinking you're going to get results, right? There's a whole shift that has to happen.
Yeah. I love the way you put that. I love that concept, Leslie. So let's bring in the social aspect now, ladies. How do you think your social awareness and your social well-being fit in with this?
I have two kind of comments on this one. So one, we are social beings, and it is extremely important to have that connection and build that connection if it's important to you, and to have social interactions and do have experiences with other people and create deep relationships and bonds. But I also feel that can be also a dangerous line to tread if you are seeking whether it's affirmation or acknowledgement or seeking all of your internal praise from external sources. So we have to also be able to acknowledge ourselves and be very comfortable with ourselves. They say, love yourself first before you can love anyone else. And I'm sure, Leslie, this is incorporated into your programming, because if you don't feel like you're worthy to reach your ideal weight or a fitness goal or something like that, it's not going to happen. You're going to kind of cycle back to where you started. So that's, I think, the same in the social. We're not going to get what we think we want to get out of social interactions if you're not confident in yourself. If you're going into a situation and you need to see your friends because they make you feel good and everything, you can make yourself feel good, and then you're also able to provide value to them, and it's more of a fair value exchange instead of kind of one side you get dumped on with love and then kind of go back and then need to be refilled again.
Yeah. Especially, I liked what you said, that we are social beings. We know that, right? We need social interaction. And I know it has been tough for some people when they don't have that connection, but like Kyley was saying, it's also an opportunity to go inward and make connections with people who are going to support you in your journey. Because I do think, your environment and genetics. Environment is so important to the results that you get in your life. So when we have this situation with the pandemic, that a lot of us were pulled away from certain situations, there may have been a little bit of a benefit to that too, because in some situations, it was a negative influence, right? Taking you in a completely different direction. So we do need absolutely the social interaction, but that can come from a community even that's online, that's upbeat, that's positive. And then continuing to know that it is about that internal journey, because what is out there is a reflection of what's in here. And I remember when I learned that, that was like, oh my gosh, wow. And so it is an opportunity to kind of go inward and think, okay, here's where I want to shift. Here's what I want to do. And I don't know, Keri, if that answered your question specifically, but I intuitively felt I wanted to share that.
No, that's great. You're right. And, bringing in, what we've just went through with the pandemic, I think too, because I don't know if life will go back to the way it was, as we say, before
Yeah.
BC, before coronavirus, or after, and how socially we will interact again and be,
Yes.
that person. But if I had to ask you ladies, Leslie, I'll start with you. What is wellness? If you had to define wellness, what is wellness?
Wellness is really, I think of what I lead our members and clients through the wellness wheel. It's really a composition of so many different pieces, mind, body, spirit, but it's your health, it's your relationships, it's your personal development. It all comes together. And if you notice one part is really off, it can impact that whole holistic way of doing things or your life. So to me, to stay healthy is about, really making sure you're challenged mentally or professionally, you're taking time to reset, you're going deep for self-care, you're asking yourself, what do I need to do to help me operate optimally as an individual, and then do more, and know that it's okay to do that. So for me, wellness is, it's this package, but it's really that commitment to yourself first. Once you have that commitment, then of course it's taking it outward to everyone outside of you.
Amazing. Thank you. Kyley?
I would describe wellness to me is being aligned with myself and checking in with myself that I am aligned and feeling good, which doesn't take long. You can check in with yourself a lot, and once you've identified, so I mean, I've done years and years and thousands of hours and all kinds of stuff and work on my development and to get to where I'm at with my own self-awareness. And it doesn't necessarily have to take that long, but checking in with yourself and knowing what's important to you, what you're working towards, what your vision is, and then just throughout the day, checking in with yourself, close your eyes, feel your body and say, am I aligned in this moment or not? Or what can I do to realign and be aligned quickly? So even if I'm sitting with my kids on the floor playing Beyblades and I'm feeling a little bit anxious or something, I'll just check in with myself and say, okay, where is that coming from? Why do I feel that way? Oh, I got to do this, this, and this. Not important right now. I'm choosing to be present and aligned with my kids, and then kind of do that. And that's kind of an easy way for me to describe wellness for me, is just staying aligned with my vision and myself.
That's beautiful. I love that. That is just so powerful. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's great. Like, I love what you ladies said. And I think that leads me to our last point, kind of what I want to close this on is, Kyley, you mentioned, your check-in with yourself. What do you ladies do? If you had to tell somebody, give them advice for their physical and mental health, what's something that you do for yourselves that you could share with others? Leslie?
About 5 or 6 years ago, it was after my father passed away, I really got into transcendental meditation. I practice it twice a day, in the morning at 6 and in the afternoon around 2. And the reason I wanted to do this is I just felt like Kyley was explaining, like off, right? Something was off. So anytime I'm off, it goes back to my connection with the higher power. Something's not right. I mean, my ego's getting in the way. I'm focusing too much on the physical. I don't have that connection. And that's what I adjust first. And I always go there. And once I'm adjusted, I always figure out the next step that is right for me. And it's been very powerful, because I know when the pandemic, hit and we had a business that was in locations. We also had it online as well. But because of the meditation that I was doing, and I was able to understand I need to go inward, I was able to go inward and get the answers to what to do next, and how not to freak out. And that wasn't even on my mind. It was just, how can I connect to all that amazing information that is beyond me, and use it to move forward? So I always say that to people. I always say it comes back to the spiritual. I know people say they want to, lose weight. It starts there. And then what step to take next.
Yeah. I love that, Leslie. That's beautiful. That is something I need to work on myself, but I am glad that is a tip coming from you, because
everybody's at a different level too, right? You can kind of grow
Yeah.
into it, and you just do whatever feels right to you at that particular moment.
Thank you. That's great advice. Thanks so much. Kyley?
Yeah, I mean, I'm essentially the same message, connect back to my own intuition. And there's multiple ways that I do it. I am not as practiced at transcendental meditation as Leslie. I do different forms. So for me, what works for me is activation meditations, which are guided. So I have a couple of mentors that I have recordings, and they guide me through meditations, and I can pretty quickly get into an alpha mindset and calm my mind down, and see, like you said, see visions of what my next step should be, have an inkling or an inspired action after that. But it can also be very simple. I share that I do a gratitude and celebration practice every morning and journal, and then I usually will just sit in silence for 5 minutes after that, whether I'm still writing or whatever it is, or just sit and connect to myself and connect to my intuition, and have inspired actions that come from that, whether it's ideas or things that I want to do, or whatever it is, or people that I want to reach out to or something. So just connecting with yourself at least once a day. Sometimes I find I need it multiple times a day, and I'll just sit on the floor in my room and set a timer and sit quietly and just listen to myself and see what's going on. But that connection and just getting used to that, checking in with yourself. Set a 1-minute timer to start. If this is like all brand new information to you, literally setting a 1-minute timer, going from there. If you're like, oh, I could probably do 2 minutes, and just close your eyes and just listen to your heart. Let the thoughts come up. A lot of times we get a mixed messaging about meditation, and it's not necessarily about shutting off all your thoughts. It's about listening to what your intuition is trying to tell you. So just be aware of your thoughts. Don't try and shoo them away. Be aware of what's coming up. And then there might be something that either you want to work on further and deeper, or an action that you could take out of that.
And I think anyone, just furthering what you're saying, who's watching this thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do this, or I think just asking yourself, what is the best option for you? Because everyone is different. You know, Kyley does something, I do something, Keri does something different. It's all based on what is going to work for you. And you can figure it out by just asking the question, but then being quiet enough to listen for the answer. I think that's the big thing, right? Listening for the answer.
Absolutely. And trying different things and experimenting and going through reading different books on intuition and connecting with yourself and trying different things. I've tried a bunch of different practices, and you just kind of work towards what works for you and you're inspired by.
Yeah. And on that thought, ladies, I think this was a wonderful Let's Talk. I took a lot of helpful hints from this, and I love that we ended on, you know, sitting in and listening to yourself. I appreciate that message. So thank you very much. Thank you, Leslie Gordon Christie. You were a wonderful guest today. Thank you for your insights. I appreciate that. Thank you, Kyley Paul. And we hope you enjoyed this, friends, and took something from it. Thanks.
Thank you.